Hi guys, I hope you're having a wonderful day. Listen, I'm back at the garden center and I'm going to pick up some trellises for my tomatoes. Tomatoes, I planted them out earlier this year. They're doing really good. But when I pick up a few trellises, I'm also on the hunt for some vermiculture, which is the worm castings. I haven't seen much of that here in the UK, but I love worm castings. I used to use it in my other mixes when I was mixing up my soils, and I want to try that as well to see if I can find some vermicastings and some trellises. So let's go take a look here in the garden center and see what we can find today. Always fun coming into a really great garden center because you come in looking for one thing. Of course, there's always 2 or 3 other things that you could find. I'm in the middle of the summer here. It's in the middle of June, July. So it's a great time of year to really get some great gardening going on. My tomatoes are starting to grow really well. They're starting to get a bit of height on them. And I'm like, you know what? These need a few trellises. So let's look on this end of the store, some of the fancier trellises, and see if I want to invest this kind of money. This is more of a fencing. Now the fencing could come in handy because I also have my giant pumpkins. So it would kind of be good to fence them off a little bit, but I don't know if I'm at that point just yet. This is kind of what I had in mind. Something a little nicer for my tomatoes. I was thinking something like this would be really good. So this is high up on the list. I may go with this, just pick up a couple of those. There's another design right here. This is also a really nice design. So it's a nice trellis. So one of those 2 are probably what I'm going to go with, but this is a large garden center. Let me go and do a little bit more looking around and see if I can find a different type of trellis that may work as well. Those weren't too expensive, but I may just want to do something a little different. Now these are nice handcrafted trellises. These are wood, look like they're pine. The price is a little higher. I'm concerned about the stability for this one, considering that it comes down to that single point. That one doesn't quite fit as well for me, but it's still a really nice trellis. Larger versions of that. Let's see what else they have. Of course, you can't come to the garden center without taking a quick peek at the plants. I love plants. So these salvias, I love this one. This one's Hot Lips. I've grown this salvia before. It's a beautiful salvia. It comes back year after year. It gets larger and larger. Just a great growth habit. It's a really beautiful salvia to add to your collection. They have another one here, which is Blackberry Ripple and Pink Pong. This one isn't blooming yet. Here it is. Pink Pong's blooming here. It's really nice. Look at that. Those petals are beautiful. So there's some really great flowers here. I'm getting a bit distracted. They have some really nice pelargoniums here. Now I'm a bit of a stickler for pelargoniums. I love them, but they're always called geraniums. Geraniums are an entirely different family of plants. The pelargoniums they have here are really nice, but one that's really sticking out is this one. Look at this coloration on this. This is such a beautiful, strong color. Neon purple tango. It's a pelargonium, and that is a very bright color. Next to this other pink, which is a bicolored pink, and this is another pink, kind of a striped pink there. And this pink also has a whiting on the interior, so some really nice pelargoniums. All right, but we came in here to look for trellises. Let's get back on the hunt for trellises. Okay, back on the other end of the store. I already have some trellises like this, which work really great for peonies, keep those plants upright. And I'm not sure if this is a variety that I want to go with. Now, this type here is something that I'm very familiar with. These work really well for tomatoes. I've used these before. The price, though, is really consistent with the price of the other trellis, which I think is a much better constructed. But I like this conical shape. Those are really nice. So I may go with that as well. But there's some other trellises here as well. Let's see what else we have. Now these are some really fancy trellises. I don't think the way I'm growing my plants that I have the space for them. These trellises are nice, obelisk. They will work really great for clematis. I think will work really great for that, but I'm not sure if this is the right type of trellis system for, say, tomatoes. Of course, if you want a trellis, there's always opportunity to do something a little more broken down in the sense of just some cane poles bent over, or if you just want to tie to straight poles. I've thought about using straight poles. I'm not sure if I want to go with that. I think I'd like to do a trellis system. These straight poles though are really great. These are heavy plastic. You know, you can keep these year over year. These cane poles are cheaper, but they just don't last as long. They're a great option though if you're in a hurry, if you want to spend a bit of time weaving them together, you could do that as well. They're not expensive at all. Look at this, 20p, 30p, 40p, 50p, and that's based on the size of the pole. So you're not spending a lot of money if you were to invest in just some cane poles. That would be a really great option for you. Of course, if I was going to go with the poles, I personally would buy these plastic just because the durability of them, they last such a long time. But I think though that I'm still more interested in the metal trellis system, the black trellis system that I saw. But some of these may work. I may still just pick up a couple of these to give myself a little bit of options, a variety. I think this is a good height. So I'll get 3 of these. Yeah, that's good. I don't think the tomatoes have much chance of getting taller than this during this growing season. And I'll get the other type of trellises as well. Now, not every type of tomato even needs a trellis. The ones that I'm growing are indeterminate tomatoes, and those tend to get a little larger because they just continue to grow and bloom and grow and bloom. So I definitely need to trellis these before they get much larger. I should have did it a little earlier in the year, but it's not too late now. While looking for trellises, I'm also keeping my eye open for some worm casting. I haven't seen any here. I may ask the staff if they have any. They're different additives, but I don't see any worm castings. I'll go with these trellises here. I think this is the best, and we'll go home and get these set up in our tomato pots. Okay, so I already bought cages for this pot of tomatoes, and you see here I have some blooms. So these are starting to bloom. These are looking good. These are some small sunflowers, some cucumbers under there, not running yet. But this one, here's another pot of tomatoes. And I think this tomato plant, which is a nice stemmed, thick stem tomato plant, looks really good, but I think I want to get one of those trellises in here, and I want to get the other trellis here with these tomatoes. These are smaller, but I think they're going to get pretty big. So I have the trellis in place now, and see, this is a nice pot of tomatoes. I actually have tomatoes in here and some marigolds. The first marigold's gonna be blooming here pretty soon. So there's tomatoes in here and marigolds. If they get taller, I don't have a trellis for this one, but I have a couple tomato plants which are starting to get a little tall. So I have just the, the pole here. I can tie those up. But on this side, again, trellis in, and here across this front, those are some chrysanthemums. They're looking a little yellow in the top leaves. I'm gonna work on that, try to figure out what's going on there. And then here on this end, this pot is basically all tomatoes, and I have a nice trellis coming up here. So real soon, within the next week or two, I expect to have some beautiful tomatoes on these vines, and I think they're gonna look really good. These are some sunflowers, as I said. These tomatoes are looking really good. If they continue to get taller than this trellis system here that I have in, these rings, if they get taller than these rings, I wanna keep this inside the ring, then what I'll do is I will add some poles to give that a bit more height if necessary. And these are some nice chrysanthemums, a different variety, and they're growing really well here. This pot I have some peppers. These are different varieties of peppers. In this pot I have some cabbage, and this is a nice, I think it's a Dutch cabbage that's gonna look really good. So just a quick update. This is the quiet right before the storm of all these tomato plants beginning to put out blooms, and I'm gonna have tomatoes here. Within a week or two, I'm gonna be overrun with tomatoes. I'm excited about it. I'll probably do a little bit of canning, but we'll see what we get. I think I have some cherry tomatoes and some larger tomatoes as well. I'm definitely gonna show them to you. So be sure to like, subscribe, follow along. This has been a nice little gardening vlog. The garden is looking really well here on the patio. Until next time, take care.